The thoughts, opinions, and general overall shade thrown on High at 9 News are those of the individual speakers and not those of High at 9 News, its audience, or its advertisers. The statements made do not constitute medical, legal, or financial advice, and for advice tailored to your specific situation, please consult with a licensed professional. Welcome to the High at 9 News Hour, where you will hear from cannabis industry experts and professionals from around the country talk about important topics while shining light on global issues and discussing cannabis as it relates to politics, regulation and reform, data and technology, science, research and medicine, family and parenting, art, celebrities and entertainment, fitness, sports, mental health and wellness, and plant-based medicines and entheogenics. Together, we are building a stronger community, fighting the stigma and creating change. With your host, Jason Beck, joined by special industry expert correspondents from around the country, and daily antics brought to you by Cannabis. Coming to you live every Monday through Friday at 9 a.m. Pacific time and high noon on the East Coast. And thank you all for getting high at 9 with us. Oh, yeah. Good morning, you guys. Happy Tuesday. It is Tuesday, March 17th. And today is it's National 3D Day.
National 3D, huh?
Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
Three-dimensional, you know what I'm saying? As
and it's also...
What's that?
St. Patrick's Day.
Well, easy there, Liz. Easy. Slow down. You're getting ahead of yourself right now. Okay. Easy there. It's also,
I'm Irish.
Yeah, it's all right. It's National Corned Beef and Cabbage Day as well. Yes, and you are very much correct, Liz. It is also. There he is, Mr. Minardi. You're in the dark, Mr. Minardi. Can you hear us? We can't hear you yet, buddy.
I see Michael.
Yeah, I see him, but he's got his.
Jason, you froze on me.
His lights are off, though. No, I didn't freeze on you. That's just Discord doing its thing. It's not really me. Michael, can you hear us? Can you give me a thumbs up if you can hear us? I don't hear you. Maybe on mute, maybe.
I'm going to jump out and jump back in because I'm seeing freezing. Be right back.
No, Liz. Hold on, Liz. You can still hear me, right? Boy, there she goes. She'll be back. Well. Liz.
Now I can hear you.
You can hear me now? Michael, can you hear me? Ask Michael if he can hear you, Liz.
Michael, can you hear me?
Interesting. Let's see. Well, as you were right, Liz, it is also St. Patrick's Day.
Yes, the luck of the Irish. This is the day everybody is Irish.
Everybody, yes. I thought it was like Kiss Me, I'm Irish today.
Oh, I like that.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, see, look at that. Then you got a new, you know what I'm saying?
Oh my God, yes. I love it.
I'm glad you do. I just texted Michael to ask if he can hear me. Let's see. Can you hear me, Michael? Michael, I'm waving at you. Can you hear me? Michael can't hear.
Oh, there I am.
There we are. Oh. Now I hear you. Can you hear us now?
Yes, I can.
Yes,
oh, Michael.
Excellent.
All right, there we go, Michael. It is also St. Patrick's Day, Michael, today.
Yes, it is.
Right in time. Look at that. Yes. And thank you all for joining us.
Day for the green.
Yes, that's right. I was telling Liz that they always would say, kiss me, I'm Irish. Yes.
Nice.
And thank you all for joining us and getting high at 9 with us. There's also high noon on the East Coast. And please remember to like, share, and subscribe to us on all social media platforms. You can look up above and down below to see exactly where we live on the internet. We are live every Monday through Friday on YouTube, Rumble, Twitch, X, Instagram, Facebook, Kick, as well as on our very own website, www.highat9news.com. So welcome to everyone joining us from any one of those platforms. And San Francisco leaders hope to spark the city's cannabis scene. Well, I'd say that if they wanted to do that, they need to start cleaning up the streets and getting all the homeless, traffic off of the streets. You know what I'm saying? It used to all be in the Tenderloin and a couple other parts of the city, but now it's just everywhere. But they say the sale of cannabis, prepared food, coffee, and live entertainment all in one place has been legal in California for over a year. But while San Francisco has long been cannabis friendly, the city has yet to approve cannabis cafes for operation, officials said on Monday. At City Hall, Supervisor Raphael Mendelman announced on Monday an ordinance that would enact AB 1775, the Control, Regulate, Tax, Adult Use of Cannabis Act, on the city level. California operates the world's largest legal cannabis market with 29 billion with a B in cumulative sales since 2020, according to state numbers. Yet the state only captures less than 2/3 of the total market, while illegal operations flourish. In a quote, "We have our legal cannabis industry retailers following the rules, following all the laws, paying all the taxes, in competition with people who just don't have to deal with any of that," Mandelman said at a press conference on Monday. "It's important to provide new pathways for the legal industry to survive and thrive." And Assemblymember Matt Haney, who authored the state law, said he's supported efforts like this since Proposition 64, which legalized cannabis for adult use in California back in 2016. "If we don't innovate and adapt like we are doing today, we risk watching California's legal cannabis industry continue and collapse," he said. "This has tremendous value in jobs and revenue for our state." Will Dolan, owner of cannabis businesses in the Outer Sunset and Mission District, said local legislation will allow him and other community members to have a space at the crossroads of cannabis and hospitality. "The community can gather, consume cannabis, and enjoy such things as coffee, light bites, a snack, and entertainment such as music and stand-up comedy. I'm incredibly excited for this opportunity, not just for my businesses, but for the industry as a whole, and specifically for our local industry here in San Francisco." San Diego, West Hollywood, and Sacramento already operate cannabis cafes of their own, and lawmakers cited health and safety laws as the main reason why the bill has not yet gone into effect in San Francisco. The ordinance would amend the city code governing those domains, along with tax and business laws, to make it easier for cannabis cafes in San Francisco to get approved. Mandelman thanked San Francisco's Director of Nightlife Initiatives, Ben Van Houten, for amending the existing legislation in efforts to reduce obstacles businesses may face from local government and clear the path to open real cannabis cafes. The ordinance would additionally require sites to have clear signage of consumption, training on secondhand smoke and ventilation, and prohibit loitering. Well. Interesting. So it sounds like they're really trying to integrate food and beverage into cannabis cafes, because San Francisco has had lounges already. I know of a few dispensaries that have lounges inside. And then rest in peace, Terrence Allen, who used to be the head of the San Francisco Nightlife Commission, had Cafe Flora, which was actual a cafe, and he just allowed people to consume cannabis in there, but I don't believe that there was actually cannabis sales happening in there. So I think ultimately this is a good thing, but I wonder if San Francisco has already deteriorated so much that having high-end cannabis cafes are just going to be a bust at this point in time. But I can't wait to hear what you guys have to say about this.
I think it's very interesting, and I, really hope that these things end up coming to fruition and become mainstream, honestly. Types of situations. The first one I ever went to was kind of Mark Emery's. Up in British
Canada.
Columbia.
Yep.
Yeah, in the 90s, which was really cool. And you did hemp salads and stuff like that, and you could smoke in there.
Yep.
And, unfortunately, when I was there, literally the day before I was there, his shop got raided and they took all his seeds, so I couldn't get any seeds at the time. But that was one of the most interesting experiences I ever had.
I went there too, Michael, and it was because you had to like bring all your own weed. Right, they weren't selling anything on site. It was you had to bring all your own weed, and then they charged you like five Canadian dollars to get into the room. You know what I'm saying? As like as a fee to access the space and whatnot. That was the experience I had. Maybe you know what I'm saying, but that's how I remember it. I definitely paid something at the door to get in. But you know it was
I think
cool.
I think we sat down and ate, so there was no like extra fee because we purchased food and stuff there.
See, I don't remember them. I don't remember them having food like actual food service. There was games to play and different stuff, but like I don't remember seeing a menu for food and being able to actually eat.
So there was what I recall, there was a little cafe next to it that you could go in and they had like salads and things like that in there. Sandwiches and stuff, and there were definitely people outside the dispensary, or not the dispensary, the store, that were definitely had product available for sale, not associated with the store, and we were there at night, and so it was a very interesting experience because literally the cops had just raided them the day before, and someone had taped it on an old school video. And the people there were yelling at the cops and be like, "Oh, well, what about all the people, across the street at what was called Pigeon Park or something, doing like heroin and stuff?" And the cops were like, "We're not here for that." There was a comment made. You guys are well-paid puppets, American puppets, and the cop said, "We're well-paid puppets." At that time, it was crazy. It was an interesting experience.
That's very, that's very, very true. And oh, go ahead, Liz.
I have more questions than answers.
All right.
All right. Consumption lounges in that area on the West Coast, in California, in San Francisco. I assume, obviously, they don't have food. Do they allow you to DoorDash things in so that you can get food? And would the cafes be attached to a dispensary? Would they be standalone?
Okay, so how I'm reading this and how I understand it, the lounges that are pre-existing are connected to dispensaries, and then you buy stuff in the dispensary, and then you can go and smoke it. As to whether or not you can order food in those would all be rules of each individual establishment, as opposed to anything. There's no regulation on that. That's a you're on my property, and this is what we will allow in it. But this ordinance in regards with these cafes, or consumption lounges, to me sound like they're creating a whole separate a license category for a whole new host of businesses that will operate just as a cannabis lounge. So it'll be a standalone cannabis lounge, to how I understand this.
Or cafe, yeah.
That's the thing is it, because how it sounds like they're basically opening a default restaurant that also allows for cannabis consumption and or cannabis sales.
Yeah, and pretty little tables outside with umbrellas and, cats.
I don't know many people that want to sit outside in San Francisco. You get all these crazy,
I haven't been there since
you get all these crazy homeless people walking up on you trying to say, "Hey, give me half of your salad." And then the other ones, they'll be like, "Hey," and then then you get the ones that are like that, like you when you try to give them food, they'll be like, "Is it vegan?"
No.
Yeah. I've
had spit on my monitor.
Yeah. I have witnessed this a few times. So this is,
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
But I think if there's an overpopulation of homeless pets, I think they should be in the cafes.
No way.
Oh, yes.
No way. They'd be pissing and shitting all in there. No way. Not a chance. I'd be allowing all that. Never. Never.
There are a few cat cafes. I'm not sure if they're in New York or New Jersey, but they're pretty popular.
Yeah. I'll call
with with adoptable pets.
I'd call the pound and tell them come pick them all up. Just get these animals out of here. Get all
therapeutic fun, right?
Yeah, exactly. If you want to bring your service dog or whatever pet, whatever animal with you, that's a totally different story. But they need to have the proper credentials to get in. That's how I see it, at least.
Okay.
Not all these stray wild animals. All of a sudden you'll have a steak salad, Liz, and all of a sudden one of these wild feral cats is going to jump on the table and snatch a piece of steak off of your plate.
Yeah, we wouldn't let that happen. Yeah. Nobody gets
what about the liability if one of these stray animals bites you, Liz? Then you're going to want to sue the establishment and oh no, that's a total, oh no way, that's a total nightmare. Total nightmare.
I wonder how they do it out here with these cat cafes. I'm gonna look into it. I'm curious because you piqued my interest.
Hey, it's just presenting the realities of those types of environments.
You're playing devil's advocate. Absolutely.
I don't even think I'm playing devil's advocate. I could just totally see this all happening in real life.
Well, yeah.
I will say this. I have been to the French Laundry. Have you been to the French Laundry, Michael? Gavin Newsom's restaurant. No. It's like a crazy, fancy Michelin star rated up there in Sonoma, up there in wine country, like super. It was the restaurant that was still open during COVID. That they were like, oh, Gavin's restaurant's still open, everyone else's restaurant's open. Da, 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 da. So it's the French Laundry. It's very fancy, and that restaurant actually has a house cat that lives there in the restaurant. But the cat just like sits around and on the fireplace and da 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 da, like doesn't bother.
He's the manager.
Something like that. Something like that, but like that's like, but like that's like in Sonoma. So like, you know what I mean? In the city, you can't be having all these crazy
I will say cats. I do not want animals really around my food.
Exactly.
Places making food. I don't want it filled with animals.
Yep.
I get it. My house is, got 7 dogs, but
Yep. Oh, and you know what? Nick Bradley brings up an interesting point. He says every single cannabis club in Amsterdam has a house cat, but that is because there are so many rodents in Amsterdam. So, fair enough. Well, on that, we're going to roll into our first commercial, and we are going to be right back.
As bad as Democrats,
the backstabbing rhino Republicans.
President Trump has fought and delivered, but liberal young Kim is a Trump hater. Kim voted to censure President Trump, but voted against censoring Adam Schiff.
I don't work for President Trump. I will oppose him in the strongest terms. I'm not running for the party of Trump.
Republicans proudly stand with President Trump, but not Trump-hating liberal young Kim. Americans for Security is responsible for the content of this advertising.
Yes, and we are back. And Michael, I think you are going to enjoy this. This is going to be interesting, especially with all these hemp conversations coming up, Michael, because the FDA sends CBD compliance and enforcement policy for a White House review. That's right. The U.S. Food and Drug Administration has submitted a notice titled Cannabidiol CBD Products Compliance and Enforcement Policy for review by the White House of Information and Regulatory Affairs on March 13th. The filing is listed on reginfo.gov as pending Executive Order 12866 regulatory review, with the action classified as a notice rather than a formal rule. Although the filing does not include the text of the policy itself, the development is notable because it shows the FDA is moving forward with federal compliance and enforcement document focused specifically on CBD products. It also suggests the agency is working to clarify how it plans to regulate and enforce rules involving these products. The notice comes as the public awaits a final cannabis rescheduling order and as Medicare is poised to launch its first ever CBD program. For now, the new notice does not reveal what specific standards or priorities the policy would include, but it its appearance in the federal review pipeline is a sign that the FDA may soon provide more defined approach to CBD compliance and enforcement after years of uncertainty surrounding the market, you guys. Well, if it's good for the goose, it's good for the gander. And it sounds like, hey, if they're going to regulate THCA in some kind of way, sounds like they're going to regulate CBD too. What do y'all have to say about this?
Well, whoops. Newark is not Newark. New Jersey has been changing around the hemp laws. I'm actually looking for it right now on my phone.
Mm-hmm.
They're not going to be selling any hemp, just from what I remember, just plain CBD. And this just took over. I'm trying to find it.
Oh, take your time. Take your time, Liz.
Yeah.
Yeah. What do you think about this, Michael? I think that this is going to be very, very, very interesting going forward if they, create some of these types of legislations on this CBD and create this type of guidance, because they also do have the ability to say, hey, you know what, you can't put CBD in any product legally because we already have drug preclusion on it from Epidiolex if it's coming out of the FDA.
Well, I think that this is something that the FDA has been required to do for years, and I'm hoping that they finally get something done. I mean, this is obviously in the Trump requirements to add the different list of CBD molecules and things of that nature. It was in the original Farm Bill for them to regulate these food products and things of that nature. So the evidence is there, especially with regards to CBD products and hemp products, the efficacy and the safety of it. So, I think that this is just a long time coming, that they finally got to get their act together and start regulating these products and give the businesses throughout this country some clarity.
Yeah, I'm with you. I would love some clarity. That would definitely be, helpful. I'm with you on that. Did you find it, Liz? You're on mute, I think, Liz.
He's muted.
Yeah, you're on mute, Liz. You're on mute.
Yeah, the dogs were barking.
Oh, okay.
Yes, I did find it. And it's through the Department of Agriculture.
Uh-huh.
The New Jersey Hemp Farming Act was enacted in 2019. Come on. It's intoxicating hemp.
Mm-hmm.
This is a New Jersey bill?
Yeah. It just came through the other day, yesterday maybe.
All right, well.
Okay, here it is. Starting on April 13th, 2026, a hemp-derived cannabinoid product is flour or products that are derived from hemp and fall below total THC concentration of 0.3% in a plant on a dry weight basis, or fall below 0.4 milligrams of total THC per container. These products may be sold by licensed Class 5 cannabis retailers, provided compliance with the Commission's regulations on testing, packaging, and labeling. So the only thing that can be purchased now is just plain old CBD.
Interesting. Well, we'll see. Well, I imagine that there's going to be a lot of CBD products that are currently available that aren't going to fall within these FDA's purview once they kind of do let this out. But we will continue to monitor this story as there are new developments. But it is going through the pipeline. So that also tells me, Michael, that Schedule 3 is also working itself through the pipeline, because if the FDA is working, I'm sure there's other agencies that are working. So then that way we can get a final definitive. And again, I'm going to double down again. I think it'll probably won't come till October, and that'll be all our October surprise, right in time for the midterms. But we'll see.
We'll see. Stranger things have happened. And on that, we're going to roll right into attorney at law, Mr. Michael Minardi. Michael's out of the great red state of Florida and has been helping cannabis patients, advocates, and businesses navigate the complex landscape at his law firm for over the past 20 years, Minardi Law. And you can find him in the great red state of Florida at Minardi Law. It is none other than Mr. Michael Minardi.
Good morning to everyone on.
Yeah.
Party on today, guys.
Yeah, St. Patty's Day.
That's right. Like the green today.
Yeah.
Smoke it or drink it.
Yeah.
Your choice. I'm excited for this one. Federal support for U.S. psychedelic research accelerates 5 MEO DMT clinical trials. During the last few weeks, 2025, Trump officially signed an executive order rescheduling cannabis as a Schedule III substance under federal law. This sweeping reform finally allows for cannabis and its therapeutic medical applications to be more comprehensively studied through clinical trials. Trump's rescheduling may kick off a red letter year for not just medical cannabis reform and research, but also for more extensive research into psychedelic compounds with medical potential. In previous years, local municipalities across the U.S. have decriminalized psilocybin. Progressive states such as Oregon have authorized psilocybin for therapeutic use. Several other states are moving toward or have already filed legislation to reschedule or start psilocybin therapy pilot programs in clinics. Within the first few days of 2026, another significant reform occurred when the U.S. Food and Drug Administration lifted the 2-year clinical hold on investigational new drug application for potential inhalable medicine produced from 5-MeO DMT made by the Dublin-based GEH Research. Their DMT-based formulation, GH001, is being investigated as a possible treatment for a condition known as treatment-resistant depression. Even prior to groundbreaking decision by the FDA, GH001 had already seemed promising from a research standpoint. In a phase 2b clinical trial started in 2023, structured as a randomized double-blind placebo-controlled investigation, it demonstrated a minus 15.5 point reduction on the Montgomery-Åsberg Depression Rating Scale, compared to placebo on day 8 with 57.5% of patients in remission, according to the findings. Similar to Trump's executive order on cannabis, the lifting of the global clinical hold on GH001 is monumental and may create ripple effects that stretch beyond just another form of application being approved by the FDA. The progression of GH001 clinical trial represents an important step forward for psychedelic-assisted medicine, particularly for conditions like depression where conventional approaches sometimes fall short, explained Kim Asnerat, founder of LA Consulting, cannabis and psychedelic-based consulting firm in Oregon. Expansion of clinical trials rests in bipartisan initiatives. Together with the other compliance observing these shifts, Asnerat says the clinical trials that are now permitted are vital for gathering information about the potential medical efficacy of GH001 and possibly other 5-MeO DMT-based substances. This kind of controlled research, regulators, clinicians, and patients' credible data create safety and efficacy. If supported by further evidence, trials could help normalize psychedelics as legitimate therapeutic options rather than just fringe experiments. Seeing the FDA lift chemical holds to allow advanced trials like GH001 demonstrates how psychedelic research is finally being upgraded to conventional regulatory pathways. It shows the need for companies in this space to invest early in compliance, quality systems, and documentations. 3 years ago, Texas Rep. Crenshaw filed the Douglas Mike Psychedelic Therapy to Save Lives Act of 2023, which would have required the Department of Defense to award grants to eligible entities to research the treatment of a certain number of armed forces with the use of specified psychedelic substances, i.e. MDMA. Specifically, the research would have been focused on active duty soldiers who have been diagnosed with either PTSD or some type of traumatic brain injury. Named after one of Crenshaw's fellow Navy SEALs, who tragically took his life, this bill was geared towards veteran health. While the proposed legislation was ultimately unsuccessful, H.R. 3684 had many bipartisan co-sponsors that disagreed with Crenshaw on many other issues, most notably Rep. Alexander Osorio-Cortez. Those who follow U.S. politics understand the strength of a bipartisan initiative when Rep. Crenshaw and AOC joined to co-sponsor a bill. Since 2023, many more bills of attempted amendments to support research into psychedelic have been filed, some of which have been allotted funding of clinical trials and several more geared towards veterans. Interesting, some of this proposed legislation was filed by two of Crenshaw's fellow retired Navy SEALs in the battlefield of the U.S. Congress, Reps Morgan Luttrell from Texas and Derek Van Orden from Wisconsin. In 2024, Van Orden authored the H734, which required Secretary of Veterans Affairs to create and provide reports on whether psychedelic drug treatments will be included in the VA formulary after receiving FDA approval. In 2025, Luttrell joined many other veterans who currently serve on both sides of the congressional aisle and co-sponsored 2623, which would have designated the VA to construct at least 5 facilities which focus on meticulously researching and possibly administering psychedelic therapies. Legislation propels ongoing research. The proposal for clinical trials into GH1 will further propel ongoing research into therapeutic benefits of 5-MeO-DMT. A combined research initiative by the pharmaceutical companies Atta Life Sciences and Beckley Scitech, known as Atta Beckley, received a breakthrough therapy designation by their FDA on their own intranasal 5-MeO-DMT benzoate for treatment-resistant depression back in October. This breakthrough therapy follows a phase 2 TB core blind study which demonstrated that a single administration of 8 milligrams or 12 milligrams led to clinically meaningful and statistically significant reductions in depression symptoms within 24 hours, with effects sustained through 8-week trial period. FDA approved for clinical trials investigating new potential therapies based on 5-MeO by 2 different companies is a significant step forward. 2026 could be a monumental year for the investigative of psychedelic-assisted therapies, even their potential for treatments that surpass current medications. The potential for compounds like GH001 to help people with depression is one of the most compelling reasons to support evidence-based psychedelic research. What we're seeing with this study may show an upcoming broader shift in psychiatric medicine, not just promising signals from small studies, but clinical frameworks that can carry these therapies through regulation and then to patients that need them the most. These treatments become the next generation of effective care with the potential to save more lives. Love it. 5-MDMO, one of the 2, 5-MDMA and NMDMT are the 2 in the God molecule that not only creates spiritual effects for people, but I think that also, helps with the depression that these people are going through. They see life through a new lens. And I'm so glad to see that nature is coming back to the forefront of healing.
I think this is really exciting. And, especially the veterans. I mean, there's a lot of letters in there, and that was pretty overwhelming as far as things go. All the acronyms or letters and numbers. But at the end of the day, what it all means is, or to me, is that, they're going to work really diligently on these psilocybins and psychedelics. I think their priority with veterans is key. So many veterans with PTSD. At one point, there was a suicide rate of 22 per day, if I remember correctly.
I think it's actually higher than that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think this is so important. I can't stress it enough.
This is the thing is with this is, it's unfortunate because Dan Crenshaw doesn't have very many allies on the Hill, and so anything with his name attached on it is pretty much going to have to be replaced. I mean, he didn't even win his primary in Texas, so he's not even going to be there in January. So if this is going to move forward, it is going to have to get a new Republican co-sponsor. I think would probably be the best for this would probably be Anna Paulina Luna, I think, would be a really good replacement for Dan Crenshaw on this bill. And then you'd have AOC and Anna Paulina Luna, two very unlikely, you know what I'm saying, cohorts, pushing for something, and both have really active voices, you know, in pushing policy on the Hill. I think that would make the most sense if they're able to get her to support this, Mike.
Yeah, and it looks like there were two others, the Wisconsin and the other Texas representative who may be as well. So hopefully it keeps on getting pushed. And, you know, the veterans are up there, I know, in many droves doing work up there trying to get this stuff done. And we obviously have some lawsuits against the feds regarding ayahuasca use and things like that for religious and spiritual purposes. So.
Man, and I find it interesting because they just went into all of it. Like they're saying DMT, 5-MeO, all of these different things. Because I'm a big believer that DMT on its own is very different than 5-MeO DMT. Are you with me on that?
Derived from? Where's DMT?
Hold on, slow down, Liz. So DMT is extracted from bark on trees. 5-MeO DMT is extracted from actual frogs.
Really?
Am I correct on this, Michael?
Yes, that is my understanding. The two differences of it, and ayahuasca can combines both the NN-DMT and the 5-MeO DMT.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, what is coming from mushrooms?
That's psilocybin, totally different. Not the same thing.
Okay.
So DMT.
We say,
go ahead, Michael, please.
I was going to say, we say not the same thing, but it's like, you know, the CBD and the THC molecule. They're like one type of molecule off that makes them different.
Well,
Thank you. This is great. Thank you.
So DMT, Liz, just so you understand, is they call it the spirit molecule, and DMT produces a chemical reaction in your brain that only naturally occurs in your brain twice in your entire life, when you're born and when you die.
Yep.
And
that's not uplifting.
It actually is. It is very uplifting. It actually is. And the other really big thing about DMT, and this is not 5-MeO DMT. This is actual DMT that I'm talking about. That's from the tree bark. DMT is actually the one single molecule that every single living organism on Earth has inside of it.
Really?
See what I'm saying, Liz? See what I'm saying?
Yeah. See, we need this education.
Yeah.
Too.
Some people believe
you know me.
It's the gateway to consciousness and the collective soul.
Yeah.
Okay.
You know, I don't know. Nick's telling me that something's not true, but you know what, Nick? I don't. You know.
What part?
Oh, he's saying well, it's also that 5-MeO, I guess, is also synthesized, and that natural 5-MeO is extracted from the Bufo aviaris toad in Mexico. Yeah, I agree with that. That's why I said it's from a toad, Nick. It's from a toad.
I would agree. It can be synthesized now. There are some synthetics out there, or mixes of synthetics and natural as well, to get that ultimate effect. And DMT is definitely an extremely powerful substance.
Now, here's where I disagree with Nick, because he also says 5-MeO is the strongest molecule known to man, and I personally think that the toad 5-MeO, I think that stuff is weak. Personally, I think consuming regular DMT is way stronger, way better. So that's just my personal.
I don't know what you're talking about, but that is. I cannot, under one circumstances at all, subscribe to that theory, Mr. Beck.
Well, it's not a theory to me. It's my personal experience with it. It's my personal experience, and so
that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Your Bufo experience must have not dosed you enough.
I don't know. Maybe I'm sure I have an extremely high tolerance compared to most people. So you know what I mean.
Now I have one last question.
What's that? Liz?
What is the difference? What reactions, how do they differ between the DMT or the number 5 DMT?
Well, Liz, that's an experiment that you are going to have on your own, Liz. You're going to have to. You're going to have to. Liz, those are all things that you are going to have to experience on your own and get back to us on that, because everyone's experience is a little bit different.
Research.
Yeah,
I'm all about research and education.
In a general sense, I would subscribe the 5-MeMO or the Bufo DMT to probably be the strongest if you're dosed right, where you take a hit and you blast off. You potentially are no longer in your body. Mm-hmm. You do not at all feel like you are part of a physical body anymore. You're, at least in experiences that I've heard of.
Sounds like angel dust.
No, it's not.
It is.
No, it's not angel dust. That's PCP. Very different.
Yeah, you are connected to everything, whether or not you're seeing alien beings or whether or not you're seeing, pure energy or family members that have passed. You are definitely traveling through different realms, I feel.
You're tripping.
It's different than tripping,
Liz, you can't say that.
It's really only
that's not what it is.
10-minute. Yeah, it's really only a 10-minute experience.
Liz, until you experience it yourself, you can't make those kinds of generalizations like that. It's a very spiritual experience for a lot of people. It does help a lot of people deal with a lot of trauma overall, and it's I'll put it to you like the first time I did a DMT, it made me totally understand string theory. Like I totally got it. Piece of cake. Oh, I got this. This makes so much more sense now. And so, and it's just so some little enlightenment. But on that, we're going to be enlightened by a commercial, and we are going to be right back.
Rescheduling cannabis, which was classified as more dangerous than fentanyl. Trump's action will destroy the cartel's illicit black market, expand medical research, and ensure seniors and veterans safely receive the care they need. Thank President Trump for delivering on another America First promise.
I thought mescaline was weak. Stop whatever you're doing. Make sure you smash that like button. I know we'll appreciate it. You'll appreciate it, and YouTube will appreciate it. Also, make sure you subscribe to the channel if you're not subscribed already. And all of the articles that we cover on today's show, you can read directly on our website at www.highatnightnews.com. And please make sure that you are following us on X and Rumble, as those are the two most stable platforms on the metaverse.
Under President Trump, America is back. Trump's delivered the largest tax cut in history, putting more money in our pockets and restored America's economic dominance. Promises made, promises kept. Now it's time to fulfill another promise from President Trump and reschedule cannabis, which supports over 400,000 jobs and creates billions of dollars in economic growth. Reschedule cannabis and stack another win, Mr. President. America First Agriculture Action Inc. is responsible for the contents of this advertising.
And we are back, and we are going to roll right into Miss Liz Quinn. Liz is a cannabis advocate who became passionate when she found herself in a very overwhelming cannabis industry with no help or education. And now as a senior super stoner, she is lighting up the way by bringing education to seniors and bringing senior awareness to the cannabis industry as the fastest and biggest growing demographic in the industry. She says, we are the new target audience. Those super stoners is none other than Miss Liz Quinn.
Well, thank you so much, and hello everybody from the west to the east. We always forget about Middle America. So hi, Middle America. Today we're talking about, with marijuana rescheduling it being still pending, federal workplace drug testing rules aren't changing, the health agencies say. With marijuana rescheduling still left unfulfilled months after President Donald Trump ordered the process to be completed, there are no plans to update federal workplace drug policy around cannabis, according to the new filing from the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, aka HHS. In a notice published in the Federal Register on Friday, HHS and the Substance Abuse and Mental Health Services Administration, SAMHSA, advised that they have made no revisions to the current drug testing panels for both urine and oral fluid and current required nomenclature. For labs and medical review officers report, because marijuana remains a Schedule 1 drug under the Controlled Substance Act, drug testing standards for the substance are not changing for federal workers, at least for now. The current authorized drug testing panels require report nomenclature remain in effect, the notice says. The relevant rule is meant to identify the analytes and cutoffs for federal agency workplace drug testing specimens and layout. The nomenclature, i.e. analyte names and abbreviations that must be used to report federal workplace drug testing results. Statute dictates that HHS must periodically provide updates on the rule, even if it's not being revised, as in this case. Because of the list of drugs that the rules apply to are listed in either Schedule 1 or Schedule 2, the policy for marijuana testing could theoretically change if it's moved to Schedule 3, as proposed by the HHS under the Biden administration following a scientific review. Trump in December directed Attorney General Pam Bondi to expeditiously finalize the rescheduling rule, but there haven't been any updates in weeks since the executive order was signed. Last year, HHS did announce that it was updating its terminology in the federal worker drug testing policy to reflect a more nuanced understanding of cannabis. Previously, HHS referred to Delta-9 THC merely as THC with no further specification. That failed to distinguish between Delta-9 THC, which is found in marijuana, and Delta-H THC, an increasingly prominent psychoactive cannabinoid that can be produced from federally legal hemp. The agency also previously used THCA to refer to a marijuana metabolite, Delta-9 tetrahydrocannabinol -9 carboxylic acid. That conflicts with the more common meaning of THCA within the cannabis space, where it typically refers to Delta-9 tetrahydrocannabinolic acid-A, non-psychoactive that can be converted to Delta-9 THC through heating. That was really a mouthful. Now Delta-9 THC is referred to as such, and HHS now refers to the THC metabolite as Delta-9 THCC rather than THCA. To align with the HHS update, the Department of Transportation, DOT, last year proposed a rule to update its own drug testing guidelines, revising terminology around cannabis in a way that provides more specifically related to THC. The DOT subsequently advised in December that all safety-sensitive workers must still comply with the federal testing requirements, even after the president directed the Attorney General to complete the cannabis rescheduling. For what it's worth, former DOT Secretary Pete Buttigieg said in 2014 that moving cannabis to Schedule 3 wouldn't affect drug testing policies for commercial truckers, noting that the department specifically lists marijuana as a substance to screen for, separate from the HHS and SAMHSA rule. Drug testing policy is just one issue that rescheduling could impact. Stakeholders and advocates are eagerly awaiting final action for other reasons, as the reform is also expected to help expand research opportunities and allow marijuana businesses to take federal tax deductions they've been barred from under the Internal Revenue Code known as 280E, for example. To that end, IRS weighed in on the relevant U.S. tax court case involving state licensed cannabis businesses, reiterating its position that the industry must still comply with 280E as rescheduling sits pending, and it does not intend to retroactively extend relief to the sector, even if marijuana is ultimately moved to Schedule 3. Meanwhile, a new academic paper says that while marijuana rescheduling would represent a historic policy change with major implications for cannabis research and industry, it should be viewed as a transitional step that must be followed with a comprehensive reform to better align state and federal law while promoting equity. Meanwhile, the first ever White House drug czar recently said while he loves Trump and almost everything he does, that affection does not extend to the pending proposal to federally reschedule marijuana, which he described as a gateway drug that's harming youth. The rest of the article is pretty much other people's 2 cents worth, representatives and so on.
Well, I have some thoughts. No. I have some thoughts on this.
Okay, yeah. You could read the rest, everybody's comments on, high9news.com.
Yes. So, this is the thing is as soon as it goes to Schedule 3, they're not going to be able to drug test, Michael, for cannabis. They're going to have to craft some whole new legislation to be able to do that. And there is a bunch of industries that are like all up in arms because the protocols aren't in place to be able to test for cannabis. And they're like, oh, there's going to be just all of these problems between the pilots, between the truck drivers, between all this because of cannabis not being a Schedule 1 drug. They're not going to have the ability to drug test them. It's going to be an invasion of privacy.
That's a great analysis. I mean, I don't know the accuracy of it, but most of these policies are based on what the employers put in it. So these are contractual agreements. So I don't think it really matters what the agency wants to put in it, unless it's for a discriminatory purpose, like the case that we have in Hillsborough County, saying, listen, I'm disabled. I use this as my medicine. And, therefore I have a right to use it. I really don't see employers who want to keep people off cannabis not being able to do so. I really don't. I think that's going to continue to be a battle for these issues. Number one, because the impairment issue, they can't tell it's impaired. Someone is impaired or not just by someone testing positive. So I really... I don't think anything is going to change in the drug policy world. Really? Yeah.
Interesting. I think it's going to have a major shakeup because I think it's going to be a major shakeup. Michael, I think a lot of these drug testing companies are going to be getting a lot less revenues because they're not going to be testing for cannabis. And a lot of these policies, how these are already written, are for illegal drugs. But therefore, once it's not a illegal substance anymore, Michael, they can't test for it because that's how they all have a general wording in there.
But that's the idea, when you could the illegal aspect of it. So you still can't possess a steroid necessarily without a prescription, right? You can't possess these things without a lawful use. So I again, it's going to be the wording of the policy of the employers, and then the interaction of those two things, and specifically how it says. I 100% agree with you. If it's illegal nature and it's no longer a Schedule 1 substance and it's illegal, it's definitely an argument.
That's what I'm saying.
Right? So what the policies will do is they will specifically say, or marijuana. Illegal substances or marijuana, regardless of, like, we have policies in Florida that they specifically, prevent people from using CBD products. So I don't necessarily think that employers will not be able to have those types of policies.
Well, this is the thing is they're going to have whole new agreements drafted. So it's going to create a whole new negotiation process, and a lot of these employees are probably going to say, you know what I mean, you guys can kick rocks. I'll go find a new job.
And also, it's going to be levels.
What do you mean levels?
With their testing, somebody who smoked the night before, they're not.
No, they don't have that kind of technology out there, Liz. They're not even close to that. Not even close to that. No way. DREs, which are drug recognition experts, are still, which are members of law enforcement, are still taught that cannabis, when you smoke it, it turns your tongue green, and so
again,
not buying none of that. Not buying none of that. Jenny Beth, welcome, Jenny.
Drug with our inspiring youth. Well, from what I've read. Because parents are now getting high, weed's not cool anymore with the youth. It's it's now old, old people stuff.
I'm not buying a lot of that either, but
definitely the smoking of it. I think I do think a lot less of the younger crowd are smoking joints, like us, the older people. 100%.
You have any thoughts about this, Jenny Beth, before we move on?
And hi, Jen.
Hi, I don't.
Okay. All right. Fair enough.
I love your shirt. I need it.
Fair enough.
Thank you.
All right. Well, on that, we are going to roll into our final commercial, and we are going to be right back.
As bad as Democrats,
The backstabbing rhino Republicans.
President Trump has fought and delivered. But liberal young Kim is a Trump hater. Kim voted to censure President Trump, but voted against censoring Adam Schiff.
I don't work for President Trump. I will oppose him in the strongest terms. I'm not running for the party of Trump.
Republicans proudly stand with President Trump, but not Trump-hating liberal young Kim. Americans for Security is responsible for the content of this advertising.
You good?
Oh, and we're back, and we are going to roll right into Miss Jenny Beth Dills. She's a little tardy this morning, but she is glad that she was able to make it today. She has an interesting story. It is America's sweetheart, Miss Jenny Beth Dills.
Yeah, okay.
Goes wild.
All right. Happy St. Patty's Day, everybody.
Yeah.
Hi, Jason and Michael. Hi, Liz. Okay, ready?
Yeah. We're waiting on
Somebody's in trouble. A human trafficking investigation tied to a cannabis grow in Northern California has led to an arrest in Humboldt County. Authorities say the case began after the Mexican consulate received a distress call from a worker who claimed they had been left stranded at a remote cannabis cultivation site without food and without pay. Due to severe flooding in the area, deputies had difficulty reaching the victim and ultimately had to bring in a swiftwater rescue team to safely access the property. When law enforcement finally made contact, they rescued the worker and reported finding unsafe and inhumane living conditions at the site, along with multiple violations tied to the licensed cannabis operation. Following the investigation, 45-year-old Georgie Tonev of Bridgeville was arrested and booked on suspicion of human trafficking. Officials say the investigation is still ongoing, yet anyone with information is urged to contact authorities.
Wow. So did they actually arrest these people for human trafficking? And how many human trafficking victims did they say that they rescued?
They rescued one, and they arrested 45-year-old Georgie Tonev.
George?
This is horrible.
Georgie.
Orgy. No good.
Listen, you've heard horror story after horror story after horror story of some of the conditions of these farms, and it's just really unfortunate that what's happening in licensed facilities.
Yeah. This was a licensed facility.
Was it Humboldt?
No way.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. It's going to be interesting to see if they get their license stripped from them for this action. Because we know there's been some other instances in California of similar incidences resulting in this that have not had their licenses stripped. So it's going to be interesting to see what the DCC decides to do with this.
I think they should be human trafficked out of here.
Yeah, send them straight to CCOT.
Iran,
No, CCOT.
I don't know where that is.
That's in El Salvador. That's the prison in El Salvador.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yes, that's a good place.
Yeah, CCOT. Yeah, send them to CCOT.
Yeah. Human traffic them right the hell out.
Oh man, Jenny.
That's terrible. That just infuriates me. It's so horrible.
Any thoughts on this one?
And it gives cannabis a bad name.
Yeah, it does. Any thoughts on this, Michael?
No, I can't even believe it.
I mean, I believe it.
There's enough wooks up there now.
Apparently not. You know what I mean? Apparently not. Apparently all the wooks have left. Apparently there was a Bigfoot sighting the other day in Idaho. So maybe all the wooks have moved to Idaho, quite possibly. Oh, and I have one final story, and it dovetails off of Jenny's story today, you guys. Because Alabama's Aden Holloway was arrested and facing felony marijuana charges. That's right. Alabama star Aden Holloway was arrested on Monday, 4 days before the Crimson Tide began to play in the NCAA tournament, and he will face 2 felony drug charges, Tuscaloosa County Police said. Tuscaloosa County Police spokesperson Stephanie Taylor said Holloway was arrested Monday morning and transported to the county jail after agents with the West Alabama Narcotics Task Force searched a residence near Alabama's campus and recovered more than a pound of marijuana paraphernalia and cash.
Damn.
Police said Holloway will be charged with first-degree possession of marijuana not for personal use, which is a Class C felony, and failure to affix a tax stamp, also a felony. His bond was set at $5,000, and he was released from jail at 10:45 a.m. local time. Per Alabama law, the possession charge can carry a penalty of up to 10 years in jail and a fine of $15,000. The University of Alabama issued a statement on Monday afternoon saying it was working to gather more information and that Holloway has been removed from campus pending further investigation by the UA Office of Student Conduct. Well, of course he was removed from the campus if he was arrested. Come on, you guys. Holloway, a 6'1" junior guard, scored 18 points last Friday in his team's loss to Ole Miss in the opening round of the SEC tournament, and he has made 44% of his three-point attempts this season for an Alabama squad that has the number 3 offense in the country and earned the 4 seed in the Midwest region. Holloway is Alabama's second leading scorer, averaging 16.8 points per game in 2025 and 2026 for a team that has won 9 of its past 11 games. The Crimson Tide will play Hofstra in Tampa, Florida on Friday afternoon in the first round of the NCAA tournament. Without this player playing, I would imagine, but nonetheless, ball so hard, and this guy was apparently balling so hard in campus, traptastically, got busted. What do y'all have to say about this?
I'm glad I was able to adjust my prize picks and my bracket when I saw this news come out. You're not about to bust my bracket, Alabama.
Right? Man. Their second leading scorer out, and not even because of an injury.
And
listen,
yeah.
But there's no excuse for this. Like, these guys in college, first of all, you used to get like a wonderful education and everything for free for your contributions to your team. Now they're actually getting sponsorships and deals, and they're able to make money off this. This guy, please stop busting down pounds if you got an NIL deal.
Right? Yeah. I know. I thought it was funny because they said the cash, and then I was like, oh yeah, students aren't allowed to carry cash. And I was like, wait a second, they're allowed to have sponsorships now, so there is a probability of why he would have that cash or a legitimate reason. But oh man.
Yeah, well, but we all know that anybody that's been caught with weed or drugs or whatever you're selling, if you have money, the government is going to seize that with some civil forfeiture and say that it's because of whatever you were selling.
That's right. That is the name of the game. The name of the game has always been asset forfeiture.
But and I'm curious to see how long before he's back on the court, because what is more important?
Well, winning is always more important than everything, Liz. But I don't imagine that Alabama or the NCAA is going to allow him to step on the court again. I'm not buying that. Now, if he would have got caught in a different state other than Alabama, I think that might play out a little bit differently. But his charges face he has the potential of doing 10 years in jail. That's a significant amount of years for an athlete, or for anybody for that matter.
Well, yeah.
And he was a junior. He was going to be draft eligible. Like, what an idiot.
I know.
Mm-hmm.
I know.
He must have ticked somebody off that
So
they ratted him out.
yeah, reality, I think he's going to get through this and he'll be fine. He'll be drafted. He'll move on. You know, we've seen this before with professional or college athletes and things of that nature. And, you know, maybe a little bump of the road. It may you know, the NBA draft's not like the NFL draft. May drop his draft capital a little bit, but I'm sure he will be playing.
You know, well, this is the thing.
How long did it take Lamar Odom?
I'll tell you what. You know, since he is in the collegiate league and they can get sponsorships, you know, it would be a great sponsorship for this guy, Michael.
Raw.
No.
Ricky Williams.
No. A criminal defense attorney law firm out of Alabama. That would make the perfect sponsorship. Then they could represent him in his case, and he could be the like, hey, these guys got me off of this when I was doing this, and and these guys are so great, and I still got drafted, and still able to still go ball on the court. Like, he would make the perfect sponsor for a criminal justice law firm in Alabama. See, Michael, I can see the wheels turning in your head, Michael. I can see it.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Michael, are you barred in Alabama?
Nope, not yet.
Not yet. Pretty soon. Hey, it just might be soon. And on that,
I know.
Yeah, and thank you all for joining us and getting high at 9 with us every Monday through Friday at 9 a.m. Pacific and high noon on the East Coast. And big shout out to our audience and supporters for tuning in daily and listening to the insanity that is the developing cannabis industry. Huge thank you to Catalyst Cannabis for helping us keep the lights on, and thank you to our correspondents for being absolutely amazing. And thank you to Cannabis Sativa L for giving us a reason to do this every day. And thank you to Cloud Media partners Elias and Gabriel. They're somewhere in the metaverse. And thank you all for tuning in and getting high at 9 with us. We are America's #1 daily cannabis news show.